what do you mean?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, proud of what? It's appropriate and it's dorky, and I'm like, bro, I've never been so proud.
It's like a good
That's
moment.
so good.
I think one thing that I've had to learn, just especially in this new like season of not working full time and not even having a full time income, and then having a new baby and feeling like I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and living in Ohio with no family, like.
All right, so I know that you're probably looking over here and thinking, man, there's usually some big, burly, bearded man.
I think I look just like him. I don't.
Obviously, there's just like such resemblance.
Timothy
Let me spit 500 times. This is my sister, Mary Beth. I think the last time we actually talked about her on our podcast. So we're gonna keep our laughing to a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Tim is still here. He's in the background holding her little baby. So if you hear any crying, it's probably Tim.
Probably Tim.
It's probably Tim. So, especially, look at how cute he is. Ugh, we love him.
By the way, Tim, it is about time for a blowout. So fingers crossed.
That doesn't happen.
No, fingers crossed it does. I would love for Tim to have to change that.
He would probably not, and just wait till we were done. Like a typical man. I kid. So, anyway, I don't really know what our first topic's going to be about, but,
well, let me introduce myself.
oh yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead, sister.
I'm freaking cracking up because people are always like, y'all look so much alike. And I'm always like, no, we don't. But there's like a screen down here you can see yourself. And we're like, we're in the exact same.
Yeah, so typically our styles are different, obviously, like,
Yeah, super duper different.
yeah, but we do look very similar today, even with the white shoes. I almost wore my boots just because
Almost.
but I didn't, because I thought, you know what? She's a runner. She's a track star. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Because last time I wore this, Tim sounded like a jogger, so that
I
song
think
comes
you
to
look
my
great. I
head.
think Tim's jealous. Anyways, yeah, I'm Mary Beth. I am married to, one of the greatest, awesomest, funniest people on the earth, Jordan. At least I think that's everything he told me to say about him.
Yep. Wait, check my notes.
And we have the sweetest little baby boy, Layton, who's 5 months old. Love him so much. I'm 25. I don't know if that matters.
And looking fab.
And yeah, I live in Columbus, Ohio right now, which is kind of crazy. A little bit of a change there. I don't feel like there's that much interesting stuff, but yeah. I feel like me and Hannah get told all the time we're so similar, and we are. I think we are
We
in
have
a lot of
of
ways.
similarity
But we're also
characteristics.
so different.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I could never be married to Tim. Love the man, but I would have a warrant out for my arrest, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I could not be married to Jordan. Love him from a distance. But
We're
we actually
just-
talked about how Tim brought up on the last one how Jordan almost didn't want to marry you because he liked you and I separately, but he did not like us together when we were together.
Jesus, that was a deal breaker? Lord, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was like, can't. You don't remember that?
He just said, he said he can't stand when we get together because we morph into, like, one person.
Yeah.
But, the more the merry. I
That's
just
what
feel
I'm
like
saying. It's a good
double
time.
the joy.
I don't know. It's a good time.
Anyways, no, yeah, so I guess we moved away in October of 2022.
Wild.
He got a good opportunity at, like, a great church down there. I remember, though, whenever we told you that we were moving. So we lived, like, an hour away. We lived, like, an hour away, which was hard. Like, that was hard for us to live an hour apart from each
God,
other.
I know.
And we moved back to Gadsden for what, like 6
Not
months?
long.
And it was awesome.
It was the
We
best.
hung out all the time.
Yeah.
Like, Ken and Ella were always with us. We were always with them. It was great. And
Yeah.
I remember when Jordan took the job and we came to tell y'all, and he was like, you have to be really, really careful with how you tell Hannah because, like, she's going to cry. It's going to be, like, a whole big thing. Like, you just need to tell her in the right way. And y'all were, like, in the, like, thick of making your house. Like,
Yeah.
building your house. So we
Yeah.
came over one day to help you build your house. And I presented it in literally the worst way ever. I was like, so, like, we have something to tell you. And you got so excited. You were like, you're pregnant.
I literally thought she was having a baby at this point.
I was like, no. We're leaving.
I'm moving
To
10 hours away.
To Ohio, of all places.
Oh, yeah.
But
that was
then
tough.
ended up getting pregnant 6 months
Not
later,
long after.
moved away from every single person that we know and
then decided to have a baby.
And then had a baby. Yeah. Which is great, but like, yeah, it's been wild.
Yeah.
Crazy ride. But anyway, so we're there and who knows where we'll go next. But I will say too, you know, we live in like, I mean, a small town, I guess. I mean, it's not like, yeah, it's
Like here?
yeah,
Or,
yeah, it's a small town.
Yeah.
But I used to always think like, man, when I grow up, I'm getting out of here. You know, like, why does nobody ever leave their hometown? Like, no one ever leaves. Like, how lame. But, bro, like, being gone now, I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. People are always like, family's so important. And you're like, but no,
But
for
then when you
real.
get there and you don't have it, you're
Yeah.
like, crap, this sucks.
I know. And, like,
especially if you're close to your family. Like,
Yeah.
so there's 5 of us, and we're all very close.
Yeah.
Like, 2 of my brothers work here, which I think I've said, and then her and I we're 6 years apart, but we're very close.
Yeah.
So it does make it even harder
Right.
to not have
Well,
that.
and, too, like, having, like, me having so many nieces and nephews. Like,
Mhm.
me and Cannon, her son Cannon, like, we're really close, but that kind of happened by default just because y'all lived.
Yeah.
When I was still living with my dad, like, they lived with
stayed
us
there,
for a little
yeah.
while. And so, like, me and Cannon just,
Jived.
you know, whatever. But, like, all my other nieces and nephews, like, I love them just as much. But I just don't see them that much. And the idea of being the aunt from Ohio, like,
Yeah,
gagged
you're
me.
like the distant aunt that they're like, oh yeah, that's just like the one from Ohio that we never
I'm like
see
the
except
dream
for
aunt, you know? No, yeah, I'm like, oh, that's my aunt from Ohio. Are you kidding me? And then Layton's gonna be the cousin from Ohio. That's like the worst thing I've ever heard.
Maybe not for long. Maybe not for long. We're hoping at some
We'll
point
see.
in the future that the Lord will just bring them back to us.
We'll see what the Lord opens up.
Yeah.
You know? But, anyways, yeah, it's been a wild ride, but it's been good.
So I know a lot of this has been where Tim and I have gone through like business stuff, and we talk about kind of our experience and how we're trying to grow and, you know, all the ins and outs. So Mary Beth actually did a social media business thing for a time. And it was, I don't even know how to say it, Monet, whatever it is, hair care stuff. And we were kind of discussing a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. And in the past, now this was like, God, years ago, 10 years ago? No, I don't know. 8, whatever it was. I did It Works. So I was waitressing, and I tried to do online social media for selling products, just like trying to make extra money, trying to grow a team and all that. So I was telling her, you know, like we give advice, Tim and I give advice for our small business and where we hit struggles and grow and from like an actual, like we have a in-store thing we're trying to do. But social media is way different.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I just kind of felt like maybe you could say, because you had mentioned that you may get back into that at some point. You don't really know for sure. But you also said that you would do it completely different than how you did before. So I think just for even people that you maybe do social media is something that products you want to sell, just say like other things that you feel like you were just like, shit, that just was awful. What I did, like I wouldn't do that again. Or I would do it differently this way, you know?
Yeah. Man.
Also, yeah, like
No, go ahead.
she did hair stuff and she has like always had the best hair. And one thing that Tim did mention yesterday when I was telling him this was when people gave you crap for cutting your hair. Remember when you like cut it real short and people were like, because you obviously have like beautiful hair and it grew back out, but
Thanks, Queen.
you just didn't care and you were like, I don't really care, I'm just gonna cut it. And people were like, don't do it. She was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyways. All right, yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna take my shoes off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
do it.
comfortable. Oh, y'all be sitting
I like it.
too cozy up in here. By the way, Hannah said we talked about what we were gonna talk about, but like literally she wouldn't talk to me about it because I've never done this, you know. So I'm like, Hannah, like, what are we gonna say? And she's like, I don't want to talk about it because I want it to be like
Organic.
Organic. Everything's organic with Hannah.
My kids would say the same thing.
Anyway, so I don't, you know, this is definitely not anything that I was like prepared for. Okay. What did you ask? What I do different? Okay, well, let me talk about why.
Yeah.
I guess why.
Yeah, do
How I
why
got
you,
into it.
yeah.
So it's actually really funny because online, like social media marketing, is not anything that I would have ever pictured myself doing. Like truly ever. I think I like used social media, you know, like the typical way. You have like a post from like 2016. Then you graduate high school and you like post that, and then like I don't know, you go to the mall one day and feel cute, and you're like,
Yeah.
So like literally, I had like 5 posts on my social media, and yeah, I was terrified, but it was something that I was like kind of drawn to and interested in, and I felt like I needed extra income, so it was one thing, but God, like I'm so glad that I did it because it stretched me in so many ways, like so many ways. And I think one of the reasons that it was so scary for me to start was because no one that I was surrounded by was doing it. Like everyone that I like followed and all my friends like used social media in the way that I was using it. Nobody was like using it for like personal development or like to make money or whatever. So yeah, it was really like scary to like step into that and get started. But it just like completely it changed the way that like I view myself and like opportunity, honestly. Yeah, okay. So anyways, you asked
what I think when you say that too, like stretching yourself, because you get very vulnerable.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
And you you post things and you second guess what you're posting and you're like, God, like is that stupid? Like what should I have done differently? Like even for us now, like with a podcast or social media things that we do, it's a very vulnerable area because you're trying to be your authentic self, but you also like want to give value. Like it's really hard, well, for me sometimes to find that line where I want to be myself, but like I don't want to be like look like an idiot.
Yeah. I think that's like a really good point though. I think that that's really true because it is so freaking vulnerable. Because I think too, like there's so much I can say about Hannah, and I need time for that later. But one thing is like she's not someone to be like, look at me, like you know what I'm saying. You're not one to just like draw attention to yourself, and I'm similar. But with social media, like when you're talking on your stories or you're just posting, it literally is. You're like, let me just put myself out here, you know?
Yeah.
And people can say, and I think too, I was so held captive by people's opinions of me and like what they were gonna say and what they were gonna think and like all that stuff. And it's like debilitating. Like truly, it's like suffocating, honestly. And so yeah, like to post yourself on social media, it's really scary because you're creating an opportunity for people to talk about you and you have to just be okay with that. And then to not have any experience in the past with it.
Yeah.
And to not be like, I'm showing up because I'm successful. Like you're showing up because you want to be successful. But one thing that I, like one day it just like switched in me and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, is I was thinking about all the people that I was worried about, like talking about me and judging about me. And you have like specific people. You're like, that girl's for sure gonna,
definitely.
like she's for sure about to tear me down. Yeah. But then I just had a moment where I was like, like none of those people are coming to my door and being like, I'm gonna help you with some personal development. I'm gonna give you a business opportunity. I'm gonna pay your bill next month. You know what I'm saying? Like none of those people are thinking about me when they lay their head down that night. Like, girl, you are not that important. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now, get over yourself. Anyways,
or they might be, but it could be from a standpoint of like jealousy because you are putting yourself out there, and they're like, who does she think she is? But I know. I do it every single time.
Anyway, no, I know. But ultimately, like, no one is like going through their day to day like, well, Mary Beth did this, Mary Beth, like, no, like I'm just not that important. Truly, I'm just not.
Not yet.
And then also too, alongside of that, like, I was like, I'm gonna let these people hold me back. And when I look at their lives, like there's nothing that I'm like, man, like I want that, and nothing against them. Like, they're great lives for them, awesome. But like they weren't living a life that like I was striving for, that I wanted. And I just had a moment where I realized like if I'm always following them, I'm never gonna get past where they are.
Yeah, that's good.
And so yeah, that was like a moment of freedom for me. And it's actually funny because multiple of those girls that like I specifically thought about, like saw their face like staring at me like stupid.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
But multiple of those girls ended up reaching out to me like a year later, and multiple of them ended up starting their own business, and not in like a similar thing that I was doing, but like they did start their own online business, and multiple of them were like, you gave me the confidence to do this. Like I saw you step out and do that, and like it gave me the confidence to do it. And I think too, that was a moment where I also realized like the reason that I thought social media was like awkward or weird, or like talking on your story was awkward or weird, it's because no one that I surrounded myself with was doing it, like I said. So what I started doing was following and watching all these people that were doing it. And then it was like, oh, like, this is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you talk on your stories. You go live. Like, you post really. You know, you do whatever. And it's, like, not a big deal because everybody's doing it. And so the truth is, like, you really are the epitome of, like, your surroundings. And I know that's, like, a normal saying, but it's just the truth. Like, what you surround yourself with is what you're going to become and how you're going to act and who you're going to be. And so it's really cool, too, to think about that in a sense of, like, it's actually pretty easy to change your life and like how you work based off what you consume.
For sure.
Like Hannah, you know, she's really gotten into more like natural and like homie's gonna be crunchy here soon, and that's great, but it's because that's what she's consuming and she's learning. If she was over here learning how to rollerblade, like she was watching rollerblade videos all the time, she'd have a pair of rollerblades, you know what I'm saying?
I could be acrobatic rollerblading.
And so like, yeah, I guess like just a piece of like encouragement, but also just like, if you want to change your life, like change what you're consuming.
Yeah, it's hard. Like you just said, it's hard to step out and be the oddball out of the scenario, like branching out. And I mean, even when Tim quit his job at the power company, I think his uncle had kept this same job or whatever. And when Tim quit to work for himself, his uncle was like, well,
yeah,
if you can do it, I can do it. So then his uncle quit and then started his own business. So it can be hard, like you said, to be the one that steps out. But when you do, you realize how you do influence other people to step out and do their own thing and not just follow the status quo or like what they're supposed to do or just what people are doing around them. Like you can't, there is more that you can do and there's more that you can offer the world. Just start stepping out and trying to grow and like learning new things.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you just, like if you want to be successful in a business, like surround yourself with people who are pursuing that business and are successful at it. And I think that's why people say like we kind of morph into each other, because I think it's important to realize like the power behind who you surround yourself with. Like if you're always surrounding yourself with your high school friends who are super negative, they have no goals for themselves. Not saying all your high school friends are like have no life. I'm just giving an example
but
here.
They could.
But like if you have a group of friends that you're just with because it's what you're used to and it's your normal, but they're always negative. They're, you know, out drinking every night. Like they just have no successful ambitions. Then like, homie, that's you. Mm-hmm. Like you're the same way.
Yeah.
But if you surround yourself with people who choose to be positive, who choose to like uplift and encourage one another, and like that's you. You're gonna become that. Mm-hmm. And side note on that, if your friends can't celebrate your other friends' victories or your own, or you can't celebrate other people's victories, like, you know, check your heart. Anyways, moving on from that.
Well, I do think that's one reason that we do like to be around each other is because I feel like we can do that well. Yeah. For each other.
Yeah, we're perfect.
Yeah,
crazy.
Obviously,
it's
like
really,
zero flaws.
Really, really hard
to
be perfect. No, but like, we are similar. We are super different though. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Okay, I want to talk about Hannah. Can I talk about you? Do you have something else you want to talk about?
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't even answer the question about what I would do differently.
Yeah, you do.
I wouldn't let it consume my life, and I'd chill the heck out. I was so worried. I was like, taking our video 17 times because I messed up. Like, girl, get over yourself.
Just post it. Just get it out there.
Anyways, yeah, I would have just chilled out and just, like, started messy and just enjoyed it. You get so focused on the end goal, you don't enjoy the process.
Yeah. And then like, you hate it.
And it's like, what's the fun in that? Mm-hmm. Enjoy where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, okay, Hannah.
I'm scared.
Some things y'all may not know about Hannah.
I'm nervous.
You know, like, when people say, like, man, they got a lead foot. What do you think of when you hear that? Like, they've got a lead foot.
So when the reason I think of that is because of my driving. When I was learning to drive, my dad would be like, "You have got a lead foot," because, buddy, I'm just like gassing it, trying to get to where I'm going.
I think that's what most people think. Yeah. Like, oh, like they're a fast driver. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Hannah, and it's funny too because you look at Hannah and you're like, Mary Beth, like, she's so like petite and little and just like light on her feet. I mean, she is. She's petite and little. I swear to you, the Lord put actual lead in her feet. Like, I mean, actual. Like, there is. If you had a like metal detector, it would go off her foot because she walks so freaking loud. And that's why her boots, her like shoes have no soles, and it's just the heels. It's like bump, 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 bump. And it's so much worse now.
I don't know why. Like, I've always been a fast walker and a heavy walker, but I don't know why. And so, like, this morning, and so she's staying with us, and our room is upstairs. So this morning, I came downstairs and she was like, Hannah, I love you, but if you don't quit walking so hard,
Oh my God.
I don't.
She's going to fall through the floor. You're going to fall through the floor.
And I literally try to, like, be conscious of how I'm walking.
No. But here's the thing, though. It's always been this way. I think whenever you and Tim got married, I don't know if I gave a speech at your wedding or but somehow I had a conversation with Tim, and I was like, she walks so loud. Like,
I do remember
you're going to know when she gets up in the morning. Even when we lived on our single floor home, you knew Hannah's feet hit the floor. Boom! And you're at the coffee pot. She goes, dum, 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 dum. Like, she is coming, okay? Now it's so much worse because she is on a second. They have a second story home. And it's, like, amplified somehow. And you would think it's Tim walking because, like, Tim, I mean, he's not a little dance. Like, you know, he's not tippy-tapping around. Like, he's got some meat on his bones. No. Tim walks like a little feather. Him just living his little life. But honestly, though, I think the reason that you do that is because Hannah is constantly in fight or flight. Like, literally, if I'm like, my throat's kind of dry. Do you want water? Do you want lemon in your water? You may grate some ginger. Do you want hot or cold? Iced or hot? And, like, I literally haven't even finished saying that I have water. I have water. Thanks. Or, like, I'm like, man, like, I gotta pee. I'll do it. I'll help you. I'll do it for you. Like, and it's amazing because that's one area that we are different. Like, Hannah is the most servant-hearted person I've ever met in my entire life. Like, constantly. Thanks. She wants everyone to be comfortable. She wants everyone to be taken care of. And she will put her own needs aside every time. And that's why I struggle so hard to let her help me because I'm like, you haven't even, like you haven't even put your shirt on yet. Like, you don't need to, like, go fill my car up with gas. Like, I can do it. And also, too, though, she just, like, she's constantly serving. And, man, that's one thing I hope Tim knows how blessed he is. Because let me tell you, that is one difference in our home. That is, Hannah, like, cooks dinner. She fixes it up on a little plate. She brings it over to Tim. Tim's like, thanks, girl. He's, like, on his phone, you know? And then she cleans it up, and then she washes it, and that works for them. With me, I'm like, like, you're Jordan, okay? I'm like, yeah. I'm hungry. What are you gonna make for dinner? And then if I cook, homie, he's cleaning. You know, like,
y'all have a lot of give and take, and I'll say it does work for us in a sense, just because doing things for people, it brings me joy. Like, I like to make people feel comfortable. I like when you come to my home. Like, my heart behind my home and the reason, like, we built it the way that we did is because I do like to host, and I love that, like, they can stay with us when they're here.
Yeah.
And now, is there a level to where it could be unhealthy? 100%. And I
think it's some childhood trauma. But anyways,
I agree. I do agree. And so, but in my home, my goal is, like, I just want it to be a place where, like, you feel rested and, like, you feel taken care of. And, like, I want you to just kind of be able to come and be yourself, like, a judgment-free, you know. And even if that means that, like, I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and it seems like I'm stressed. Like, she says I'm in fight or flight. And the first time that she told me that she feels like I'm always in fight or flight, I was in Ohio, I think, and you were taking me to the airport. Or maybe it was here. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I was taking you to the airport.
Somebody was going to the airport at some point. We'd be flying back and forth at this point.
And I was like, you know, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. That's why you walk so fast. Because you're, like, trying to do the next thing before you even finish the first thing. And you're thinking about all the things that people need. Yeah. But, like, homie, you still got to brush your teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like, my Lord. And then I'm like, Hannah, like, let's stop for a second here. If I didn't get water in the next 5 seconds, what would happen? Probably nothing. Like, I probably would be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really am okay. We're okay. Just simmer it down, baby. But anyway, she's just amazing. That was my point.
Well, thanks. You're so kind. But she did make the comment. She was like, I hear your feet. She's like, doof, and then she's like, there's my socks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
I'm like, what are you rushing for? Like, you know she's upstairs. I don't know if you've ever seen that video of the guy, and it was like, what if we ran everywhere instead of walking? He runs to the sink and then
and like
gets
throws
water, and then he like runs and then he gets ice, and like that's Hannah. I'm like, what is she gonna die if she doesn't get socks on in the next 4 seconds? Because she is sprinting.
I don't know. Like, and I will literally try, like, when I go to the store with my kids, or mainly I usually have Ella, and she's like, I'm like, we gotta go fast. She's like, oh, good. So I'm jogging then. And I'm like,
I got
sorry,
no legs.
I'll slow down. But it feels like I have to literally control my muscles.
Yeah.
To walk slower.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because it's become such a.
Anyways, we can move on, but.
We even had a discussion on the way here about dishwasher, which is like random, and I was going to say this, and then we'll go back.
Dishwashing, because Tim washed the dishes this morning.
He did. He made his breakfast.
Let's give it up for Tim. He didn't make our breakfast.
He does. He helps. He did not. He made half it. Anyway, I refused to put a dishwasher in our house because the thought of having a full dishwasher literally irks me. Like, I would rather just hand wash my dishes and put them to the side and put them up later. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't like it. Irritates me.
Dramatic.
It is. It might, maybe. But I just kind of traded that out for, I just want to have an ice machine instead of a dishwasher. But she prefers a dishwasher.
Which is so not the same. That's
yeah, I know, but that's like,
she's like, listen, we don't have to get a dishwasher, but I want an ice machine. I'm like, those aren't even in the same
It is to me. Priorities.
Anyways, it does. Like, that works differently for us, you know?
Mm-hmm. But, so, even for me, being in a space where, obviously, like, we're running a business and I have kids that are a little bit older.
Yeah.
It does help me sometimes to have someone that can, see me and know the struggles that I'm going through and then give me advice that I need. Because I think it's hard for, like, even with me and Tim, like, we do work together. So if I go to you and I'm like, hey, like this, I'm just really having a hard time in this area, or I'm stressed, and she's like, literally, dude, she can show me where I'm wrong. Yeah. And having someone to have that vulnerability with helps me in growth, because I'm all for constructive criticism, and I want to be able to do that for other people, like not in a way of degrading or hurting, but
right.
because there were lots of seasons where in the business it was really hard, and trying to know my role and find my place with being a mom and wanting to be a business owner, because we have our kids every other week. Mm-hmm. So there was a week I was like on mom, and then the next week I was trying to like go in the business role, and I think for me, I just get curious with people who are married to a business owner, or like they have a business together. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what do you do? How does that look for you? Because I'm always just curious if I'm doing it wrong. you know?
So if you're married to a business owner, reach out to Hannah. She needs some business owner friends.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about investing yourself. So I know we've talked about this before, but like, so Tim and I have been traveling a lot, getting involved in different groups and business groups, trying to always invest in ourselves and grow, because you've got to keep growing. You've got to keep investing. You can't, like you just said, you've got to surround yourself with people where you wanted to go, what you're wanting to be. And in the beginning of doing that, it was very challenging, because you start seeing areas where you're like, God, I really suck at this. Yeah. And you see people who are so successful at it and do it so well that I think I found myself trying to take on, which is not a bad thing. You can see things with people and be like, oh, I like that, I want to take that on. But you start losing yourself. Mm-hmm. I think it's very easy, especially for me, because I don't know, like I would just see these women, and I still see them, that are like it just seems like they're killing it as like a mom, and they're in charge of like with their business stuff and their husband. And I, for a long time, started feeling very insecure, as far as I am just like, not that way. And trying to take on things that other people did so well, that I would kind of forget the things that I can do well. Like, even though I may not be just like, full-fledged running the business, I know there are things that I'm good at. And I told him in the beginning when we started this growth process that one thing I refuse to give up is my mom role. Mm-hmm. Like, being a mom and a wife brings me the most joy of anything that I do. And in that process of growing a business together and growing just internally and just as a person, that's just an extra bonus of like my life. But what really, again, brings me the most joy is being a mom and a wife. And so then when I would see these women who were just like killing it in business, I'd be like, man, have I settled? Have I settled because that is what I'm good at and what I love? But I've grown out of that. I think it's been a lot better for me the more that I've put myself around people. Obviously, people want to see you succeed and win, and people that are doing well want to see you succeed and win. People that are not doing well are the ones that
that's a big one.
typically are gonna drag you down, and maybe not intentionally, but they just do. And like I'm going to a women's thing in a couple of weeks, and I'm really excited about it because I am curious of really what their roles look like or what it looks like for them, because I feel like I could give advice from my standpoint, but also like my journey is not your journey. So what and their journey is not my journey. So I can take pointers and I can look at them and say, oh, like they did that, so I want to do that. But I've also got to be able to apply that with how my life looks. You know what I mean? Like the way that they do things looks a certain way, and so I try to mimic that, but I can't mimic that. I've got to make it where it fits into our life, like how that looks for us in our business.
I think though it's kind of sad to like, it is really hard and sad to hear you say like, man, like I'm just not them and I'm not them, because the reality is like there's probably so many women that watch you and feel the same way, like, man, like look at her, she's doing all this stuff. And I think there's just always going to be a truth of like there's always going to be someone who's doing better than you and someone who's like maybe not. And that's like so okay. And I think you have always really struggled with like putting yourself down, which and I used to too, because it comes off like I feel like I don't know, something about how we grew up, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's got their trauma, but like I just feel like when it shifted for me was when I started getting into like surrounding myself with different types of people, and there was just a space of where I never was like I hate myself, like I never just like hated myself, but I was just not kind. I was not kind to myself because I felt like it was really prideful or like it was wrong. And there was two things that like really shifted. One thing was I saw some of these women with like the high five thing. Have you ever heard of the high five? Like give yourself a high five.
I think we've talked about that a little bit, but not
so
like extensively.
I think there's this man, and he talked about how whenever you give a high five, it's always associated with something positive. You know, like you're never like, hey, you wrecked your car. You know what I mean? Like nobody's gonna do that. But like a high five, like whenever that happens, your brain like releases a certain like, I should have looked it up, but anyways, it makes you feel good.
Yeah. Like
and
serotonin.
So they were like, just start your day with giving yourself a high five, and I was like, that seems kind of silly goose, but like, you know, okay. And it really is like you're just like and looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, I'm so proud of you. Like that's hard, but it changes a lot. Anyways, the other thing that changed me was I listened to this girl, her name's Shelby Sacco, and she just talked a lot about habits, but she talked a lot about just how nice she was to herself. She's like, man, I love myself. Like I love myself. And I was like, wow, like have I ever said that? Have I ever been like, man, I truly love myself? And I think too, talking about people who are doing well, like they want other people to go, it's because they are not, they're confident in like their own success, so they feel like they can cheer people on. And that's the same thing with encouraging your friends. Like you can be someone who's like your friends' cheerleaders, but it's never going to be genuine if you can't cheer on yourself, if you don't actually love yourself. And so like just very, very small things I started shifting in my mind of like just again trying to be kind and speak well about yourself, and it changes everything. I mean, it changed my physical health, it changed my spiritual health, like emotional, like, and obviously you still struggle with like whatever, but you know, and I look back too when I first started social media, and man, like there's parts of you that just wants to like cringe, you know. And I know like you've said in the past, like I look at some of our first videos and like I just want to cringe and say, oh my God, like, oh, but like, and it's hard to not look back and be like, oh, like girl,
what you
baby. But honestly, like now I just look at her with so much like grace and just like I'm so proud, you know. I'm like, man, like she was scared and she had no idea what she was doing, but she did it anyways. Like I'm so proud of her. Like look at her go, you know. And I just think that that's like a whole mindset shift that is that my cuss word?
You get to
a mindset shift that happens just whenever you change how you speak to yourself. It really does. It changes everything.
And that mindset is something that I'm working on. I'm not there, but like we've talked about this, and when she said it, it really humbled me because I'll just be very honest. To sit here and think about telling myself like, you're killing it, or
Yeah.
like,
You go, queen.
yeah, or I'm like proud of you. It makes me want to throw up.
like
Like,
a
I feel like I don't deserve that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like very just, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, proud of what? I don't know. Like, and that's sad. That's
It's
hard.
very sad.
That's so sad because it does make me, like, I think it's easy for me to look at you or whoever and think, man, like, you're doing so great and killing it, and let you know that I see that and that I am proud of you. But like, if I think about doing that for myself, I don't feel like I deserve that. You know, it's very humbling.
Therapy. She needs therapy, everybody. I'm
Probably.
a huge advocate for therapy.
I'm for it. I think therapy is great for a lot of people, and I'm sure that I probably for sure need
Therapy.
it. Dominique.
Okay, anyways.
Okay, let me just say this. Let me get out of this feels for a second. One thing that, did you have his bottle, Tim? Okay.
It's just a chitter chatter in
Just
a
checking.
whiny way.
Here was a rule that I had for when Tim and I got married. We have, as a family, like me and her and my siblings, we have so many movies that we all connect with, like that we have movie references that I was like, you don't have to like these movies,
Right.
but you have to watch them so that
Right.
you understand all of our references.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then it's just not funny.
My
But
life
like,
is-
but we'll
what
be
is my
literally
life?
sitting there laughing and like making all these random references, and he's like, I don't know what you're
He's
talking
like, I don't get it. Y'all are so annoying.
about. All you do is laugh.
Oh, it's the joy though. It is always stupid movies too. It's never like
It's not like they're-
typical things. that
No,
you
it's not like they're
Yeah.
whatever movies, but it's just the point that it's become something that's like a funny thing for us or like our
Yeah.
brothers. And I'm just like, if you're gonna be in this family, like you're gonna have to watch them,
Right.
And so I make our kids watch them so that they understand the references,
And they're
now,
great at 'em.
and they're good at them.
They're great at 'em.
They make so many references that honestly, it is like one of my proudest moments as
Yeah.
a parent when they make a reference that is dorky
And
as
it's
crap.
appropriate too. Like,
It's
an
appropriate.
appropriate reference.
It's appropriate and it's dorky, and I'm like, bro, I've never been so
Yeah,
proud.
it's like a good
That's so
moment.
good. That's so good.
You go.
Love it. And then and they know that it's funny, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Anyways.
God.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so really quick, I don't know. We probably need to wrap this up soon because ain't nobody gonna keep listening to us ramble.
yeah, that's for sure. My God.
I was gonna ask you a question, but I don't know what it
Well,
was.
One thing that you meant, we were talking in the kitchen, and you had mentioned where I think you're in a place of life, like you have a new baby and you trying to figure out like where you're gonna go, like what direction. Because you're an OT, you do OT first.
OTA. Don't take away my
OTA,
license.
whatever.
I'm an OTA.
OTA with you've worked in geriatrics and special needs
Yeah.
kids and all the stuff.
Yeah.
And not sure if you want to stay on that track or what you want to do, where you want to go, because you had said I'm in a different place of life than you are. Talking about me, because like we have a business and my kids are older and we're more like, I don't want to say established, but kind of established.
Yeah.
But then I was like, but actually, yeah, but no,
Yeah.
because I'm in a new place where my kids are older. And can do things for themselves, and our business, you know, I mean, we still have the business stuff, but I'm still at a place where, do I want to do something different? Do I want to go a different direction? Like,
Right.
I'm now a place where I can do that again, where I'm not tied to, 3 and 4 and 5 and 6-year-old kids. I mean, my kids are 10 and 11, which doesn't sound normal, but they just are. So it's kind of a same dynamic, just different. It's exactly the same, but completely different.
Same, but different. No, yeah, I mean, there's still like an aspect, and I don't know. I mean, maybe there's people who are like, I'm sure there are. There definitely is people. I like it, but not a lot. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
There's people who are like, man, like I know that this is what I want to do. Like I'm so confident in myself. Like I'm content. I'm doing the dang thing and happy with it. I did say like it is crazy. I feel like I'm a whole different dynamic coming on here because, we're so much younger than you.
You're old.
We do have a new baby. Like, we're early in our careers, kind of, and I'm not confident in like what I want to do with my life. And so yeah, like to look at you and Tim and be like, man, like they know what they're doing. They're established and whatever. I feel like this thing's literally falling off my head.
It looks like it's like just slowly drifting
It's
back.
just moving its way back. Anyways, but then for her to be like, well, no, like, you know, we're
Mhm.
not that established and we don't really know. I think that can be encouraging for a lot of people just to know, like, it's day by day. And I think one thing that I've had to learn, just especially in this new, like, season of not working full time and not even having a full time income and then having a new baby and feeling like I don't know what the heck I'm doing and living in Ohio with no family. Like, and we've been blessed. God, we've been so blessed with such good friends and family. I mean, good friends, but like, it's just like a daily bread kind of thing. Like, you're just like, today I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to see what the Lord has for me. And I'm going to, like, literally do as best as I can. And that's all I can do right now.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow I'm going to do as best I can. But today I'm focused on today. And I think that sometimes, like, we can get, again, so caught up on, like, the end result and, like, where we're trying to go and, God, I'm not there yet, and, like, whatever, and you just don't enjoy any of the process, anything of where you're at in the moment, and that takes the joy out of life.
Well, yeah, because you don't enjoy the process, and then even when you get to the end result, you're still not happy because you weren't even happy in the process.
Yeah, it was like, this was miserable to get here.
Yeah, and I don't even like where I'm at.
Anyways, yeah, so I don't know what my point was about to be there, but yeah, I think if you're someone who is like on the brink of like wanting to start something, but you're scared because the market's saturated or you don't know how or whatever, like, the funniest thing to me is when people would say like, I would do this but I don't know how. And it's like, well, no duh. Like,
No crap.
What do you mean? That's like Tim. Like, Tim, you know, he went and got his pilot license. But what if he was like, I don't know how to fly a plane.
I can't do that.
I can't fly a plane. I don't know how to do it. Like, no crap. You don't know how to do it. Like, you've never done it.
Yeah.
So, like, you surround yourself with people who do. And, like, you
start
learn
dabbling.
and whatever.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, I think it's really easy to get caught up in any kind of predetermined failure of, like, this isn't going to work for me and whatever. And, like, I don't know how. But the reality is, like, Leighton doesn't know how to tie his shoes. But that doesn't mean he's always going to be like, well, I just don't know how to do that. So
It's wear slippers the rest of his life.
Velcro straps. Nothing wrong with those. Great invention. But, like, you just, homie, you got to just try. Like, you got to put yourself out there. You got to do it.
You can't know what you don't know.
Period, queen.
You know?
Pop off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
And that's just like, yeah, like even with the podcast. I'd never done this before. I didn't know what I was doing or getting into, and it was hard and vulnerable, but like, I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and now you're doing great.
And we're still learning. We're still going, but that's a very good point. Yeah, if you're wanting to start something, just start researching it, watching people. Even if you don't start yet, watch people do it.
Yep.
And then, like I said, pick up things that you like, but make it apply to you. Don't try to become them. Yep. And that's even with Tim. Like, he may, I don't know if he would ever bring this up, but there's like men that he's watching speakers, and he's like, oh, I really want to be more maybe aggressive or intense, or I want to be more. And I'm like, oh, but that's not you. That's not your voice. Like. Yeah. And so I have to do this, but I've had to apply the same thing. I love that they do it, but make it fit who you are, and don't try to morph into someone else. Or like, you can even if you have the same business, it doesn't have to look the same.
Yeah.
Take qualities, take aspects, take things you like, make it fit you. Because you're on your own journey, you have your own life. No one's you but you. Mm-hmm. So
be unique.
God.
No, yeah, day by day, just go for it.
Be unique. Yeah. So that was good.
Good stuff.
We didn't even laugh that much.
No, it was good though. We just stopped talking. Anyways, how do y'all end these things?
Tim
Rocky Hollow Podcast.
Tim usually says something that I usually say that we're out, and then sometimes I ask for Tim a high five, and then he never gives me one.
Thanks for watching. We're out.